Hey guys, this is Breach. Welcome back to Pokemon Blue, 151, no cheats, no trades. Off screen I went ahead and battled this trainer and then went and caught a 5% encounter in the grass here, a Jigglypuff. Now, Jigglypuff is going to be a absolute pain in the backside to catch. Not because of really anything special, but to weaken it, to be able to catch it in a Pokeball, you have to, hit it. And, Jigglypuff, at the level that you can find it here, only knows one move, and that's Sing, which puts your Pokemon to sleep. Which, if you're asleep, you can't easily hit it. Now, I went ahead and also caught a Pidgey here. We could have caught it outside a pallet, but, it's whatever. It's a Pidgey. It's nothing special. Not even really once you get it to be a Pidgeotto or a Pidgeot. And we also do not have $500, so I'm not going to show you the rip-off deal of a Magikarp that you could buy at the Pokemon Center here. Instead, we're going to catch a higher-level Magikarp and not have to worry about it too terribly long while we try and get it up to be a Gyarados. First Pokemon we're going to encounter here in the Moon Cave is Zubat. Now, if you're a fan of Zubat, you're going to like this area, because it is full of them. Just all over the place. Zubats as far as the eye can see. If you're a fan of Golbat, awesome, you're going to love it. If you're a fan of Crobat, you're playing the wrong game and you need to go play either Gold or Silver, because he's not in this one. But Zubat, I'm not a fan of. It's one of those like Rattata who it always works better for the computer than it does for me. I always get confused by it, never seem to be able to confuse it. So we're not going to mess around with it. Except for whenever we have to fight it every 10 steps in here. Yeah, if you can't tell, I'm not a big fan of the cave areas here in Gen 1 games. They're very limited in the Pokemon you can see, and they tend to last for friggin' ever. It's just not a pleasant experience from my experiences. Now, it will be a good place to level up a Pikachu, if you're wanting to do that, to take on the Cerulean Gym, hint hint. But, as you'll see, all these Zubats we're facing, they're all normal flying types. So Pikachu is going to do some pretty decent damage to them with its Thunder Shock. Since they're weak to Thunder, you're going to get the special attack bonus on it, the weakness, and then since Pikachu is an electric type, he'll have same type attack bonus. So you're going to get essentially quad damage, which is what we're trying to avoid against this Geodude that we want to catch. If Squirtle uses Bubble, it's water. Geodude's weak to water because he's rock. Squirtle's going to get same type attack bonus, and on the off chance that we get a critical hit, it's going to do like either a ×6 or a ×12 multiplier against Geodude on the damage. Which, since we're significantly higher level, is going to one-shot him. Just not going to be a good time for anybody. Instead, we'll Tail Whip and tackle him down, which for rock Pokemon that you're trying to catch is honestly the best way I can advise doing it. Now, this Geodude, we are going to catch. We're not going to give him a name, and we're really not going to deal with him until much later in the game. He's going to be one of those that we're going to evolve with rare candies later on after we find an abundant supply of them, if you will. As far as his final evolution, that's one we're going to have to glitch into the game, because Geodude, after he evolves into Graveler, was one of those that could only reach the final evolution via trading. That was the only way you could get a Golem, was trading your Graveler to a friend. So your friend gets a Graveler, or your friend gets a Golem, and you hope that they trade it back to you. Now, we are going to clear out most of the under areas here, just because, we don't ever want to come back to Mount Moon after we're done with this. There is one Moonstone that I miss in the game, but, we're not going to have to worry about that, because we'll find an abundant supply of them later on. We will face the Rocket Trainers, though, because I'm not a fan of Team Rocket. I mean, sure, Jesse and James were entertaining in the anime, but, the game is a completely different story. You have Jesse and James in yellow, but you You certainly don't in this. You have all the same friggin' dude. And I don't know where they get all these twins. Must be where they get all the Nurse Joys and all the Officer Jennies from. Is where they got all these rocket twins from. But no, we're not going to use another Pokemon. Not for the friggin' overpowered Rattata. Now, Squirtle's level 15. In one more level, he's going to evolve. And we also just learned Water Gun, which is a beefed up special move. It has 5 less uses than Bubble, but it's a lot more powerful on Squirtle's special attack. So, eventually we're going to replace Bubble with something even better, and Water Gun will be our weaker of the moves for when we don't want to overkill stuff. Now, we will see Water Gun in use well before the end of this episode. And a level 11 Zubat, we're going to go ahead and send out Ashley or Pikachu. I can't remember if I mentioned it yet now, but I went ahead and caught another Pikachu so I could name it after one of my best friends, Ashley. That's something we're going to be doing now, is some of the Pokemon you're going to see me actually give nicknames to, and those are going to be after either good supporters of the channel or some of my best friends, and this is just one of the first examples of that. One of the other ones is going to come along in episode 7, I believe, because I've recorded through 17 already. So we're going to go and heal up Squirtle with a potion, and head on back up to the main route here. And run into... is this it? Yes. This is one of the 5% chance encounters in here that I thought was going to take me forever to run into and try and catch a Clefairy. There are 2 encounters in here that are fairly rare. Clefairy, which I think is only found in Mount Moon here, and Paris, the bug plant. Clefairy is, you know, not bad, not good by any stretch of the word, just fairly rare. It'll evolve with the Moonstone into a Clefable, and as you saw there, that was the first time, I believe, that we've had a Pokeball not capture the Pokemon right away. So, whenever that happens, you can either try and hit it again to weaken it a little more, which at this point will risk killing one of the rarer Pokemon in the game that we don't want to have to go try and find again, or we can give it a status ailment. Status ailments will make them easier to catch too. Poison we could try, burn, freeze, paralysis, and sleep are 2 of my favorites though, because they're not going to actively hurt the Pokemon, so you're not going to, you know, have a limited time there aside from the number of Pokeballs you have. I remember when I was a kid trying to catch like a Zapdos or an Articuno and poisoning them, which was never really a good strategy for catching those, but it'll help weaken it so it can be caught easier. And it'd die before I ran out of Ultra Balls to try and catch it. Now, there's a trainer right there, yep. We don't want to fight all the trainers in here, it's a waste of time, it's a pain in our backside. But we do want to go ahead and go down all the staircases, because I honestly, when I was recording this, couldn't remember all the places we needed to go. And TM01, I'm not sure which thing is in that, but we are going to go ahead and fight this guy. A, because he's a rocket, and screw those guys, and B, because there's an item over in that rock that we can go pick up. And naturally, he has all the same Pokemon that the other rockets have. They have Rattatas, they have Zubats, a couple of them will have Grimers or Coughings. You don't really see Ekans that much, and sure enough, Zubat uses Supersonic and Squirtle gets confused. Now I'm trading out because I don't really want to use my confused Squirtle and have him weaken himself and have me have to rush out of here to go heal up. Which, you know, would be the smart thing to do, things a smart person would do. But you're not watching a smart person, you're watching Breach, and Breach likes to gamble and live on the edge a little bit. And I also talk about myself in third person at inappropriate times, so, you know, it is what it is. And, oh, we do have a rocket with an Ekans to go ahead and make me eat the words that I just said. And I'm going to go ahead and leave Pikachu out there. Sorry, Ashley, but you're kind of being a sacrificial lamb right now. I know that you're not going to make it, and I wanted to make sure that my more powerful Squirtle could get us through the cave. And I'm sorry, I hope you forgive me. Still love you, girl. But we send out our Squirtle, and he's gonna finish the job. Because Squirtle. That, and we want to hit that Wartortle before we get out of here. It's just, that evolution is awesome. It's one of the coolest looking Pokemon in the game. I went through the last episode on my favorite being Dragonair, but Wartortle's pretty awesome in his own right. Wartortle, Charizard, Dragonair, those are some of my favorites. And sure enough, we're going to evolve after this fight. And I think at one point I go back out to heal up Pikachu, Ashley. I can't remember, so I'll be surprised, and we'll learn together, viewers. That's what Let's Plays are about, is doing things together. Getting that couch co-op feel without having to be on the couch next to each other. And sure enough, there's another Zubat to slow us down. Because Zubat, why not? That's why not. But we have an Ether here. Ether will restore the PP PP for your moves. You know, aside from the immature just laughing at PP, it makes me think of the South Park Stick of Truth. Whenever Clyde starts giggling, and Cartman just like, well, if you have a better name for it, just go ahead and say it, Clyde. That's obviously a censored version of what Cartman says, but now here I think is where we cut and go out and heal up. We'll see in just a second here. And we also run into the other 5% chance encounter that we wanted to see, a Paris. And yes, we did go heal up off screen, so I'm smarter than I thought I was, which is impressive, to say the least. Now, we do want to catch him, so we're not going to tackle again, and, you know, that first tackle might not have been the best decision, but it worked out. So, I may not make the right decisions all the time, but I get results, darn it. And we don't want to give a nickname to Paris. He's, you know, useless. Well, he's not useless. We'll use him as an HM slave a little bit later for a bit. Not long, because we'll get a better HM slave. But he'll serve the purpose whenever he's needed. Whenever I derp out and forget that, almost forgot an item. Which would have been an important one, because, you know, we need to dupe up that Moonstone later to be able to... You need 4 Moonstones, which I think there are exactly 4 in the game, but to get around, you know, whether or not that's true, because I usually only ever find 3, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use, later on, whenever we're done with the Elite Four, I'm going to use the Missing No Glitch to get infinite Moonstones, so that I don't have to worry about that, and can still accomplish the main objective of this Let's Play without having to use any kind of cheating device. Now, here we're at, I believe, the final 4. And we're finally seeing stuff besides Zubats, which is always refreshing because, you know, Zubat. Ugh. But we're still going to run from wild Pokemon, because honestly, I mean, we get most of the experience we need off of trainer fights. We are going to do a little bit of grinding after this episode before we go fight the Cerulean Gym Leader, but not too terribly much. It's mostly just going to be to get Pikachu fully up to snuff. And I go wide here because I can't remember if there's a trainer looking down, just waiting to ambush us. I do want to get levels, but I don't want to waste time, if that makes sense. I mean, it's already a 19-minute video because I wanted to make sure we get through Mount Moon all in one shot. And there would have been, but we got to fight him anyway, so, I mean, did it really accomplish anything? Yeah, in the long run, not really. And, woo, a Team Rocket member with a Rattata. That's not original at all. But we are going to show off Water Gun because it's a higher special attack damage move than Bubble. And we might be able to take it out with 2 Water Guns as opposed to 1 Tail Whip and 3 Tackles. So, always go for the more efficient route, if you will. And as Zubat, yes, we're going to change it to our Pikachu. A, to get more experience, and B, that's going to be more efficient because of the weakness there. and the same type attack bonus. So always keep that in mind. I mean, it's billed as a rock, paper, scissors, and a lot of people know, oh, I gotta use this move because that Pokemon's weak to it, but there's intricacies in there that you may understand how they work, but you don't know why they work the way they do. I mean, there's still stuff that I learn about this game, even on this playthrough. So, just one of those that's, it's super exciting because it's such an in-depth game for the hardware it was on. I mean, when you think about the memory limitations in a Game Boy cartridge, or even less than that of an NES cartridge, and they managed to cram in 151 playable characters into this game. That's just astounding. The sheer ambition of that. An RPG with 151 playable characters and such an in-depth, world that you can climb into is just amazing. Now, Grimer here, he's a normal type. We'll see. We won't catch him for a very long time. Not until we get to Cinnabar Island, and naturally he's going to disable Water Gun. So, screw you, we'll Tail Whip and tackle you, because, our War Turtle is a beast, and, he does what he wants. Now, most of the status ailments, like Confusion, not Sleep, but Confusion, Leer, Growl, things like that, if you switch out your Pokemon, the effects of them will go away. Not the case with Disable. And I think about trading out War Turtle whenever he pulls out his Voltorb here, because Voltorb's an electric type, but at this level it doesn't know any electric moves. So my water type disadvantage here isn't really a disadvantage because there's not much he can do to me. And I'm disabled no more from that, which, disable will wear off after a bit. And that is bad news for his Coughing, who I'm going to special attack into the ground for his hubris of thinking he could take me on and disable the strongest move I have against him. Now, things aren't going to go perfectly my way, if I remember right. Okay, no, it's later on. There's later on whenever we're fighting a Coughing like that when I get smogged and poisoned, and it does not go near as well, and I'm the one with hubris in that situation. But here we're going to pick up the Helix Fossil. Much later in the game, you can turn your fossil into a research place, which will give you a Pokemon for it. The Helix Fossil will give us Ammonite, which will evolve into Amistar. We also could have gotten the Dome Fossil, which will turn into Kabuto, which evolves into Kabutops. Now, because we chose one, we can't get the other, and that means we're going to have to do some glitches to get Kabuto into our game, which we'll do much later on. Now here we have another HM, or another TM, just waiting for us, but we finally made it to Cerulean City. I don't think we have any more trainer battles. We're going to go hit up the Pokemon Center, and then we're going to call this episode a day, because 19 minutes, it's been a long time. We made it through Mount Moon, though, and we're getting close to me showing you off the glitch that is going to allow us to catch them all. But I thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a rating, comment below, let me know what you like, what you didn't like. Feedback is feedback. Be sure to hit me up on Twitter at twitter.com/element_breach, and if you feel my content's worthy, also follow me on Patreon at patreon.com/elementbreach. Thank you and have a great day.